Today's face-off on Fox Soul. Challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams. Ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face-off on Fox Soul starts right now.
Michael Jones comforts his 70-year-old mother as friends gather in the Wilson Park community where his brother Robert grew up. His family says Robert Jones, 54, a longtime worker turned supervisor at a Northeast Philly metal manufacturer, Thursday evening when an off-duty homicide detective.
What do you make of the fact that he was killed by an off-duty police officer?
It angers me a lot, but I gotta stay focused. I gotta stay under control.
Police report it was 11:30 Thursday night when the 43-year-old off-duty detective stopped his car in the turn lane of Willits Road near Holm Avenue with Jones' 2019 Kia behind him. Jones was shot through the window as he approached the detective's car on the driver's side. The family's attorney said he was unarmed and may have been trying to help what he thought was a stranded motorist.
You have an armed officer shoot and kill an unarmed person who is certified to do roadside assistance and is wearing a reflective jacket.
Did your brother possess a gun?
No.
Did he have a gun? You
No.
ever know him to have a gun?
No.
Police have released no other details about the shooting, including the detective's name. Despite searching a storm drain Thursday, police have not reported finding a gun.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
I'm going to tell you, Quanell, searching the storm drain suggests that they have got a story that they're trying to stick to. And that story is going to be, I shot him because he approached my car with a gun. Now, this is just conjecture on my part, but I believe that's what the story is going to be. And it's an incredible amount of commitment to go out there and try to dig out, to probably a false story, to dig out a storm drain trying to find this gun. If he approached the car and got shot with a gun in his hand close to the car, you know where the gun's gonna be?
Right there by him.
Right the damn there, right at his feet, all right? Maybe tossed off, but it'll be within 10 feet of the body. It's not gonna be down some storm drain, down the block. And let me tell you something, there was cops everywhere after the shooting, because that's what happens. And then the narrative starts to form. Now, it could have been a road rage incident, right? The officer could not have proceeded at the light. The guy could have got mad honk. The officer could have got stubborn. The guy got out of his car and walked up like, hey, what the hell? And so maybe there was some sort of dispute. But you don't get to kill someone because you're scared, right? You don't get to kill someone for walking up to your car. Here in Houston, Texas, we had a different encounter where there was a road rage back and forth, and a guy got out and walked up to a car waving a pistol around, acting like it was a magic wand and all.
Cop did.
And then the guy.
Remember,
I'm
here in Texas,
I'm sorry about
a cop did that
hold on.
and got killed.
I'm talking about it wasn't a cop in this situation.
Okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Walked up to the car, and the guy in the car pulled out a gun and shot him right through the throat and killed him.
Remember the young Hispanic man who just was put on trial early this year?
Okay.
Last year, where he got into a road rage incident with a cop. Cop walks up to his vehicle, he shoots and kills the cop, right? Well, then they arrest him and charge him with capital murder. Later, he was found not guilty by a jury here in Harris County because the cop lied about what took place in the beginning, who did the investigation, that the cop did come out with his gun pointed at the young man, and the young man shot him.
Okay.
But in this case, this gentleman had a reflective vest on.
The young man in that situation was a very violent criminal for a number of things.
But he was found not guilty of shooting that cop. It was self-defense.
Harassing. I disagree
but in that
with
case,
that assessment.
the jury found him not guilty for killing the cop.
I agree. I think the DA's office did not do a very good job in that instance.
But in this case, this brother had on a reflective vest.
Right.
And he's certified in roadside assistance. Right. But I kind of agree with you. Maybe there's some kind of road rage incident.
Or just not going at the green light, right? And,
but that still sounds like road rage, though. You with me?
But you don't get to shoot someone.
And you don't get to fabricate a story to justify it either.
Right. Well, but there's also the possibility, because I don't want to unfairly indict this dead man's character, there's also the distinct possibility that he thought there was a problem and he simply was trying to help.
This is true.
And so,
but I think
way,
the cop fabricated a story about there being a gun involved.
Look, of course,
to justify that shooting.
Of course. And then, of course, we weren't there. You don't 100% know. but I say you 99.9% know. If they haven't recovered any sort of weapon.
Well, the man that he did kill, we know this. He was a hard-working man.
Right.
If he had a criminal history, they'd have told us.
Oh, yeah.
And he had just been promoted to supervisor at his place where he worked.
Very nice family.
So this
and
was
apples
a hard-working man.
don't fall far from the
Exactly.
tree. His family seemed very nice.
This wasn't the thug-type gentleman that you normally see attaching these type of shootings when they try to make up stories about somebody had a gun, officer felt threatened.
I know not always thugs. I did jump out of my car about 3 weeks ago trying to find
I don't trust this one.
But,
this ain't passing the smell test.
Right, but here's the thing. You don't get to shoot people for walking up, right? You don't. I had a guy come in, long line of cars, I'm waiting in line, cuts me off, I honk, then he don't want to go, then he's like swerving into me, driving all crazy. It comes to a stop, gets all alongside of me, rolls down the window, starts talking mess, jumps out of his car. I can't shoot him for that. Now, I jumped out of the car too, and he didn't want none. And his wife.
But
was
if he was black, you could have
shot
shot him and got away with it.
No, see, why do you want to know? First of all, he
In
was
Texas,
a person of color.
In Texas,
first of all, he was
if you as a white
person of
man
color.
if he jumped out of your car and in Texas as a white man, you shot him and killed him, approaching your vehicle, they'd let you go.
That is no.
They would have let
Texas,
you go.
You do not have a right to escalate self-defense to deadly force. Plus, people can get in confrontations. Right, the guy was a lunatic. His wife agreed with me, yelling and screaming at him for driving like an idiot and acting like a fool. He didn't want to take a whooping that day. But the thing is, you don't get to kill someone just for walking up. You don't. I don't care if you're in Philly in the middle of the night, Houston in the middle of the day.
If it's found,
you don't get to do it.
But if it's found that the cop lied about the man having a weapon, will the charge be murder or manslaughter?
Well, they're going to argue that the weapon just disappeared. Right? Who knows?
Magically disappeared.
You know,
Abracadabra, hocus pocus, Shazam, it's gone.
I think the race of the cop will play into any charging decisions. A white cop versus a black cop, we don't know that now. Obviously, it's a very diverse police force there in Philadelphia. I think that'll, if it was an African-American cop, and we know it's an African-American victim, I don't think the Justice Department will get involved, which I think is unfair, right? I think that you should always examine police actions irrespective of race. You should dig deep into it.
But you know what was funny about this story? They never said what the officer's statement was.
Well, of course not.
And in fact, the union might have came to the scene before he ever was allowed to give one, because most officers, people don't know this, and when officer involved shooting, they don't give a statement to investigators right there on the scene. The union comes up and takes them away.
Lawyer. Most civil service agreements give them X number of days. I had this conversation with an officer.
And think about that. Could you imagine a citizen getting 3 days to make up a statement after a shooting?
I had a homicide detective hassling someone because he had no leads on a homicide here at HPD Detective just a couple of weeks ago. Y'all know I'm out of the criminal game, but you know, for people, I get dragged back into it. And I called the detective and said, "Hey, you want to talk to this young girl? I'm gonna have to come with you." And he gets all huffy. I said, "Look. You shoot somebody. You ever shot somebody?" "Well, what's your business?" I said, "You ever shot somebody?" He wouldn't answer. I said, "Well, let's assume you did. You're going to get a lawyer out there before you say a word. But you're calling people, telling them to come down to your office, put them in an interrogation room, and you're acting like I'm the attitude problem. You're the attitude problem. I've been that officer for cops. I write a vague paragraph. I don't write a novel."
But why'd you go through all that? Why didn't you just tell a man, "Look here, buddy, you cop this attitude, Quanell X not going to talk about your TV show."
Here's the thing.
You went through all that for nothing.
I'm not saying the idiot's name.
Say his name,
I'm not
and we'll
saying
make you famous.
Name.
Look,
and
we could have made him famous.
Let's be fair.
We could have made him famous.
I said HPD. It was HCSO, it was the Sheriff's Department. I'm not making
it
that
don't matter.
famous.
Next time, don't go through all that drama.
He didn't get to interview.
Let's just talk about him on TV.
Because he was schmucks. Cops need lawyers, so do everybody else.
Watch your attitude will make you famous.
Schools. Later today, County Council will vote on approving $2 million for vape detectors. Our Maureen Ume live with the latest details for us this morning.
So the money for the vape detectors will come from the $2 million that MCPS got after suing Juul. That's the e-cigarette manufacturer. For kids of vaping, they got $2 million, so that money they want to convert into getting vape detectors that they want to install in bathrooms in high schools throughout the county. That's the plan. They already had a pilot program that showed that this would be effective. Now it's up to County Council to ultimately finalize that money to make these, the vape detectors available now throughout the high school. The goal is to create a healthier, safer school environment. And the past 2 years, Montgomery County Public Schools reported that 424 incidents related to drugs or controlled substances, including vaping, happened within the county. While the exact type of vape detector has yet to be finalized, the aim is to install devices that will alert school officials if there is vaping. Officials hope that...
In this round, here's Quanell X.
Charles, the video that we just observed is about a Montgomery County school district deciding to spend $2 million of the taxpayers' dollars to install vape machines in schools that will alert the administration if vapes are on property or being used on school campus on the property. Charles, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure that would really work. It's a part of a prevention method, but I think that if they really want to stop teenagers from vaping, there's only two ways of doing that. Get more profound with making it mandatory to have education about vaping on school campuses and the dangers of it. Invite some students or young people that they can identify with to come to the campus and say, look, I used to vape and this is what happened to me. There have been stories about young people who vaped and then lost control of both of their lungs and now on breathing machines. So why don't you bring a student like that to the campus and say, hey, look, this is why you should not vape. Secondly, why don't we raise the penalties for those who are making it easy for these young people to gain access to these vapes? Because teenagers, if they want to hide it from you, if they want to stick it on campus, they'll find other ways to get it on campus. Spending $2 million on something like that, I think you can spend that money a lot wiser to better teach prevention to the students than like this.
You know, I am a drug war abolitionist as opposed to excluding fentanyl and methamphetamine and a handful of others. Prohibition rarely or not at all works in these United States. It works in places like Singapore or Malaysia where they'll kill you if you get caught with something. But we're not going to do anything inhumane like that. This is too, now I was encouraged by the fact that they're spending money that they got from a vaping company in a lawsuit, right? Basically, entities, governmental entities across this country extorted money out of vape manufacturers like Juul by suing them, alleging they were inappropriately marketing to kids. And that's why you can't go get, you know, candy flavored vapes anymore. Starters, people need to parent their damn kids, right? You as a parent should be involved in your kids' lives and know if they're doing this. Two, if we're going to install detectors in schools, how about metal detectors? How about let's make sure these kids aren't getting killed by gun violence before we start worrying about what they're smoking. Three, you're 100% right. It's education. You want to change people's consumption of a narcotic, or you want anything, a vape, then you need to educate people on the dangers, on what it does to the inside of your lungs. You want to change people from doing cocaine. Right now, cocaine in America is, you have tons of fentanyl deaths. People will do cocaine for the first time, not realize it's filled with fentanyl, and they'll die right away. I read a story about a mother of 2 young boys, you know, suburban housewife, you know, goes out for a bachelorette party, dead. Right?
A lot of hip-hop artists,
right,
and musicians, period, and entertainment figures,
and we've been hearing about that for years.
That's
with
right.
codeine, with drank, and some of the greatest artists Houston ever knew. DJ Screw, Pimp C. We've lost great minds.
Just lost a young one, Witch Homie Quan, just a week and a half ago.
Right. I mean, it is unbelievable.
The great black actor, was it Cheetah was his name? No, the one that was played in The Wire. You remember him? The young man played The Wire?
Yes.
Yeah. He died the same way.
We need to, he died of fentanyl, I believe. We need to educate people on the dangers and realities of drug use, while also not making people felons for admitting they're using drugs. But here, this is just stupid. You want to spend $2 million? Spend $2 million on educating children
well, this is what I
about
disagree
being
with.
healthier.
Once they got the money from the manufacturers of those vapes, that money goes to the school district. At that point, that's taxpayers' money.
Right.
Let the taxpayers decide how they want that money spent to deal with the issues of vapes on campus. Perhaps you should maybe bring more officers on campus. Take $2 million and put more officers and put more cops on campus.
They're going to catch these kids with vapes and put them in that school-to-prison pipeline. They're going to arrest them. They're going to put charges on them so they're not employable.
But you know, in Texas, if a student is caught with a vape on campus in Texas, it's a felony.
Yeah, it's all enhancement.
It's a felony.
I've had a client that had a THC vape on campus. They weighed the pen. Now, I fought that. But they weigh the whole pen. They want to slap him with a secondary felony. I had a kid bring some weed brownies in a Ziploc bag they charge them 5 to life. Now, fortunately, this is when I was still doing criminal work, and I was able to unwind both of those charges. But it is incredible how willing school district police are to ruin kids' lives, when really the only thing school district police should be doing is making schools safe so people don't get shot to hell.
Those police are not accustomed to fighting crime. So the minute they get a criminal case, they want to play experienced, seasoned detectives.
I can't
the
say
minute
that
they got
about all
come on now,
school
Charles.
district police.
Charles,
But
now you and I both know most school district officers are good for writing traffic citations, and that's about it, and taking somebody to jail to do something stupid on campus. Charles, you and I both know they're not an investigative agency.
Well, I will tell you.
And they're not seasoned investigators, Charles.
I gave them a lot more benefit of the doubt prior to the cowards standing outside the classroom in Uvalde, right? And
we learned a whole lot about cops standing with school police.
Like, parents say they don't want schools to feel like prisons. I bet there's not a single parent of a kid that was lost to gun violence in a school that wouldn't say, hey, I'm okay with metal. If I get my kid back, I'll take metal detectors, I'll take searches.
And them school cops are afraid to go in the building. And they hide around the corner.
That's Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, same thing. He out there hiding in a stairwell. He at least got charged. Cops need to have one purpose, and it's in schools, the cops in schools. Their only purpose should be making sure those kids go to school safety, go home safety, making sure the teachers go. And I'm not talking about safety from smoking a vape and maybe mess up their lungs. I'm talking about safety from violence, period. But we don't do that. And this is just a waste of money.
But I'm going to tell you something else.
And how the hell do these things work anyway?
There was a case here in Texas where a teacher was discovered to be selling vapes on campus to students. A teacher.
I mean, people be hustling.
Well,
people be trying to make that money.
But I think the law should require all teachers to be drug tested.
Yeah, you know, I think teachers are saints for putting up with the crap they got to put up with.
I agree with you, but I think that they should all be drug tested.
But look, I think education. Like, hey, you ain't gonna see me using no weed pen vape because I read some articles about the damage to the lungs, and I'm not going to do it. That's why I'm consuming my THC, much to your chagrin.
Jesus Christ.
I'm drinking it.
With these dope fiend
I
stories.
am drinking it in a can because I don't want to smoke and I don't want to vape because I'm aware of the dangers. Man, come on. You know, a wiser,
we're gonna need
calmer,
an intervention.
Less angry, big angry is much more.
We're going to need an intervention in a minute.
Okay. Look, I think Maryland is wasting their money. Let's trust the kids more, but let's protect the kids better.
In today's Face Off Up.
You gotta say no to the hoe.
That's a great motto.
Cause the hoe is just as bad as Joe. And I take cash card or Venmo. Woo! But you gotta say no to the hoe.
That, Quanell, was a man hawking merchandise to a Trump crowd. He's a face-off. Look, you want to criticize Kamala? Like, I think she did very poorly in that 60 Minutes interview. But you ain't got to be a misogynist about it. You ain't got to call her a hoe. You ain't got to go, the hoe has got to go. I mean, is it so important to make money that we have to give those? I mean, it's just stupid. Just like calling Trump Adolf Hitler or a Nazi. Why aren't we talking about policies? And I know you got to have a catchy T-shirt, but you can have a catchy T-shirt without reducing someone that's been a public servant for most of her adult life, whether you agree with her or disagree with her, to a hoe.
Charles, let me say this. I politically have some disagreements with Kamala Harris. I have some disagreements, seriously, with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris.
Man, you got a Trump hat right off over there.
But what upsets me about this is a black man out there at a Trump event calling Kamala Harris a hoe. And I would say to that brother, do you have a black mother? Is she a hoe? Do you have black sisters? Do you have black daughters? Are they hoes? But you so freely make mockery and calling a black woman a hoe. We need a drop squad of black men that would have pulled up and pulled off their belts and whooped that brother's ass. Don't you dare, whether you politically disagree with this woman or not, but to walk around calling her a hoe when she's far from being a hoe.
Hold on.
That's wrong, brother. To publicly do that, that's wrong.
Yesterday you called Cardi B a hoe?
And let me say this.
Yesterday.
Cardi
Just
B,
yesterday on this
you
show.
cannot come.
Hit the
First of all,
rerun.
I said her behavior would be
No,
that
you
of a
called her a hoe.
as a stripper.
No,
I didn't call her
you
a hoe.
called her
I
a
said
hoe.
her behavior as a glorified stripper and unrepentant stripper.
straight
That is
up
whorish
called
behavior.
Cardi B
But
a
you
hoe.
cannot compare Cardi B to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is a well-educated, well-accomplished public servant and has given over half of her adult life to public service. So I'll be damned we say Cardi B is on the same plane as a Kamala Harris, even though I disagree with her politically. I'm not going to tolerate brother calling her a hoe. That's wrong for that, brother. You got a black mother, probably black daughters, and black sisters. Hell no.
I don't think they're on the same plane. I never seen Kamala spit bars like Cardi. Right? I mean, Cardi, incredibly talented musician.
Man, look, you can't compare a woman who glorifies being a hozo and no problem with it and think it's proud
that's my point.
to a black
You are
woman
lecturing
like
him
Kamala Harris,
for calling
who has
Kamala
reached the
a hoe
highest levels of
when you
success
call
in
black
this
women
nation.
hoes all the time.
Black women did not die and bleed and die and fight in this country
Then why
for
are
a
you
woman to
always
become a
calling them
stripper.
hoes?
But they did fight for women to be accomplished like Kamala Harris.
I think we agree
They
on
fought
one
for
thing.
that.
This goober is a clown trying to make a quick buck.
We need to find that Negro and pull off our belts. You lost your mind, brother.
That's it for the Face Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.